Are we rolling? Yes, we are. What's up, guys? It's your boy McKinley Crain here. Today I'm going to be doing my spoiler-free review of season 2, episode 2 of The Mandalorian, aka Chapter 10 of The Mandalorian. So, this episode stars Pedro Pascal as the Mandalorian, aka Mando. Who is continuing on his quest to get Baby Yoda, aka the child, back to the child's home planet, where the child will be, safest from, the Empire, which is trying to, get the child and, harm the child and take its powers and stuff. Just harm the child. Anyway, so in this episode, so the Mandalorian basically is on starts out and he's on Tatooine, and he ends up making some sort of deal with somebody who can give him some information that he needs about finding other Mandalorians that can help him on his quest. And his part of the deal was to just buy that guy drinks. And another part of the deal that he finds out later, which is the big part of the deal, is to help smuggle a passenger back to their home planet, where they can repopulate and repopulate and have their eggs fertilized. This passenger is not human, obviously. It's like a frog creature that's endangered and going extinct, and there are only a few out there. It's so the only ones that are mentioned are her and her husband that are left. So yeah, the passenger is like a frog creature. And yeah, so he has to he has to take in this episode he goes on his journey to he goes on his little side quest and his big journey, his overall journey to get this thing back home. And whether or not he does, I can't tell you, because that'd be a spoiler. And yeah, he gets in a lot of sticky situations, especially towards the end in this episode. And the last 10 minutes are a little bit horror inspired. I know I'm not the first person who reviewed this episode to ever say that. There have been other reviewers and stuff who have said that, specifically one. But that guy was right, and I agree with him. It is the last 10 minutes are a little horror inspired, even though they're not horror. This is an action series, and this episode is an action episode. But the last 10 minutes have a little a little horror, a little themes of horror mixed into them. And that's great. This is in my opinion, the most unique Mandalorian episode. Like, you could say, it's like what I, what I mean by most unique is like the tone is different, the setting is different, for the tone and setting are different for like, certain parts of this episode. And usually in the Mandalorian, like, in the Mandalorian episodes, he does like all the stuff that he does are like all kind of like similar stuff, like, just stuff that just things that relate to one another, that are like one another, like bounty related stuff, or fighting like a giant monster in like a cave or something like that. You see what I'm saying? Like it's all most of the time, a lot of the time in the episodes, he does similar stuff. Like, you know what I mean? And that's not a bad thing. That's a great thing. This whole series is perfect. This whole series is great. I like it. I love it when he does all like, the similar stuff in all the episodes. Oh my gosh, I'm feeling a little dizzy. I don't know why. I'm feeling a little dizzy up there. Yeah, but I love it when like, the episodes go a little out of character too. Like this episode, it went a little out of character. Sure, like, he's still like a lot of the stuff he did in this episode was similar to like, a lot of the stuff that he does in the other episodes. But like, there was a lot more like, this episode was like a lot more different than the other episodes. I know I already said that, but I gotta say that again. Like, there's like, he does a lot of different stuff and gets like mixed up in a lot of different type situations, if you know what I mean. But that's not a bad thing, that's a great thing. And this episode was very thrilling. Is it my favorite episode of The Mandalorian? No. But like all other Mandalorian episodes so far, it's a perfect episode. It's a great episode. I loved it. The acting is great. Yeah, the acting is perfect. The special effects are perfect. The editing is perfect. The ending is perfect. The character chemistry is perfect. The action is spectacular and perfect. Soundtrack is perfect. Soundtrack goes like really well along with the scenes in this episode. Yeah, and this episode was really, really, really thrilling. Like, nail biting and intense at some parts, like really intense at some parts. Like, this show gets like, intense all the time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, characters are like in intense situations, but like, this episode, like, has the most intense tone and like overall setting and feel. And that's awesome. I love this episode. It was great. It was perfect. And I look forward to seeing future episodes of this show. I've seen every single one of the Mandalorian episodes. I've seen all of the Mandalorian episodes. I've seen all of season 1, and I've seen all of season 2 that's been released so far. And I love it. It's one of my favorite shows ever. And I love this episode. And this episode's perfect and it's great, and I would definitely recommend it. Anyway, I'm going to give this episode a 100% out of 100%, which is the equivalent of an A+. Like, subscribe, join the notification squad. I will return.